Welcome back to another episode of Queerpreneurs Unleashed. I'm your host, Dustyn Baulkham, and on this podcast, we chat with rad 2S LGBT plus entrepreneurs and their businesses. We're recording today on the traditional ancestral territory of the Syilx Okanagan people, and thrilled to have my friend Colby here.
That's
Colby,
me.
That's you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, or thanks for coming to me.
Yeah, we've been shuffling in his office here at his practice. So tell me, give me a quick little intro of yourself and your business.
Sure. So my name's Colby Johnson. My business, I'm a lawyer by trade, born and raised in Kelowna. Kind of followed in the family footsteps, and so I now work at Heritage Law Group. We're just a small firm, two of us, me and my younger brother Paul, and we've been doing it for combined almost 25 years now, the two of us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how long did your dad have the practice going before it?
So Dad retired. He was practicing law for the better part of 46 years.
Okay.
And my grandpa, his dad, was a lawyer. When my dad was growing up, he was also a provincial court judge. So at the time my grandpa retired, he was the longest sitting provincial court judge in BC history. So it was just one of those kind of family businesses to fall into, I guess it would be. And my brother and I have taken it over and had a lot of fun working together.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously I know you personally, but you like live next to each other too.
We do, yeah. Paul, my brother's my neighbor, and he and I bought a piece of land off of my dad about 10 years ago, which just happens to be across the street from my parents. So the whole Johnson family lives in close confines to one another.
Yeah. You're a compound in that area of Kelowna.
Yeah.
So tell me, how do you identify?
I identify as gay.
Yeah,
Pronouns he, him.
Yeah.
I've identified as gay since I was 21, 22. I knew well before that something was different.
As we do, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
we can't figure it out right away, but we know something's different.
Yeah, I knew from a young age that something was different, and as I started to grow up, I began to realize what that was, and ultimately, in and around the age of 21, 22, I started coming out and owning who I was and, quote, what I was.
Yeah. And tell me about your coming out. What was it like?
Oh, Dustyn, it was so uneventful. Which was a nice thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear these absolute horror stories about people coming out to their friends and family and just the level of misunderstanding and anger, and you get those really horrible stories where parents want nothing to do with their kids. I started slowly coming out to friends when I was about 20, 21, and the reaction from most of them was, yeah, and? It's like
tell us something we don't know?
Yeah, exactly, right? I'm like, what? I wasn't hiding it? And they're like, yeah, we get it. I'm like, okay. And finally, at the age of 22, I decided to come out to my family. And it was just so anticlimactic, anti-dramatic. I was almost disappointed with my coming out story because, so many of us, myself especially, build up the what ifs, the unknown.
100%.
Because ultimately that's what we're afraid of, right?
Absolutely.
It's the fear of the unknown.
It is.
How is someone going to react? And my parents are amazing. And they were always amazing growing up. But for whatever reason, it's just that ultimate owning your truth and making it public. And again, when I told my parents, they were like, okay, well, are you still going to be home for dinner? Right. So I'm sitting there going, no, where's the drama? Where are the fireworks?
Yeah.
Where's the anger? Where's the misunderstanding? It just, it wasn't there. It was a seamless transition from being closeted to out.
Right.
So in that regards, it was nice. And some of my friends reacted differently. The best reaction I had when I came out was a good friend of mine, total bro jock mentality. Yeah. And he couldn't accept the fact that I was gay because I wakeboarded.
Because gay guys aren't allowed to wakeboard?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That was his answer. He's like, Colby, you can't be gay. You wakeboard. I'm like, well, I'm sorry I don't fit into that mold, but here I am. So
not everyone else is just prancing around in dresses and drag, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't fit that stereotype for him. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the worst case, the worst situation you had.
Yeah. No, it was an easy process looking back on it.
Yeah, which it is. I mean, I was very fortunate too with my family, and I think in what are we at now? This is going to be episode 8. we've had, a bit of a roller coaster of responses from, Keith, who was in the episode before this, who talked about, he still hasn't talked to his parents since the day he came out at 18 years old.
Which is shocking to me because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change who you are. The only thing that changes is somebody's perception of you.
Exactly.
And so it's not on the person coming out, it's on the recipient of that message.
Exactly.
They're the ones that need to work on it, not us.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know a lot of people who have, been in the unfortunate situation. I feel like nowadays I hear more about, like our stories. Sometimes it might be a bit of a surprise to people, but otherwise it's like, okay, whatever, like carry on with your day. Like, on other news.
If it doesn't affect you, it shouldn't affect you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So get over me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How does your identity play into your business?
I don't think it does, to be honest. Okay. When I come into this office, I'm a lawyer first and foremost.
Right.
That's my job, right? How I identify and my personal story, my politics don't play into my job. Because I deal with so many people on so many different levels that, there's no tea, no shade when they sit across the desk from me. Because ultimately, when people come to see me, they're not having a good day.
Right. With a type of law,
I practice primarily criminal and family law, so if you're coming to see me, you're not having a good day.
Right.
So I try not to let any of my past life experiences influence my way of thinking, other than I know that everybody has a story, and you never know what someone is going through.
True.
I had a story. Not a lot of people knew what I was going through. Okay. Right? My coming out really tied into my drinking and partying when I was younger.
Okay.
And I think I really used that to mask who I was. So again, not everybody knew what I was going through or why I was doing what I was doing. So when somebody sits on the other side of the desk of me, whether I'm gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, two-spirit, you name it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They have real-world problems that need to be dealt with.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you mentioned the party thing, because I feel like that is something that's maybe becoming less common in the queer community, but there's still a lot of people and a lot of us who've had really good party phase in our lives.
Yeah.
Whether it be alcohol, drugs, a mix of the two, or either. So, and I'm trying to think now on the podcast, right about half the people I think are sober or close to it, like very, very low on any kind of substance use.
Yeah, and I know for myself, I quit drinking and using when I was 23, so I'm 21 years sober now, and I honestly believe that the amount of alcohol that I was consuming, the drugs I was doing, the partying, was all an attempt to either mask who I was or try to deal with accepting who I was. Because, as you well know, when you're drunk or high, your inhibitions are much lower.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So the ability for my true self to come flowering out was there, and I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's how I dealt with coming out. And the summer that I came out to my parents, I found myself in a treatment center about 3 months after that.
Okay.
So, once I got sober, I was really able to come to grips with who I was, what I was, and completely accept that.
That's amazing. At 23, that's amazing. I have only went sober and I'm like 37.
Yeah, things weren't good.
Fair enough. But
no rational, healthy, 23-year-old thinks, you know what, I need a treatment program because things are going so well.
Yeah. But you got it cleaned up, and now look at you.
Yeah.
Right? Running a successful law firm with your brother.
Yeah, and that's all just because I've been able to own who I am.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of people that are still stuck in that kind of coming out, discovering themselves period of their life where they really hold on to that victim mentality.
Oh yeah.
Where nobody knows what I'm going through and why me, as opposed to why not me. And once I was able to accept who I was and share that with the world, my attitude changed from why me to hey, why not me?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, Elle and I have that conversation a lot because she's been sober I think a year and a half now. I'll be a year in like 3 weeks, and we have that discussion around people who are in that victim mindset. And because there's so many of those people that are just always the victim, no matter what happens in life, it's not their fault.
Yeah, and to have that clarity of mind around it, it's really nice to be able to be, I don't want to say take other people's inventory, but at least use that to reflect on myself as, look, I don't want to behave like that anymore. I'm over that. I don't need the drama.
Well, and that's it. Like, we realize that we actually control our own lives and how we're going to react to stuff. And then we can move forward from there. And I find being sober makes it so much easier to be able to do that because your brain's not clouded. You're not hungover. I definitely don't miss hangovers, that's for sure. I miss the taste of wines and such, but...
Yeah. But when's the last time you woke up on a Sunday thinking, oh, did I really do that last night?
Well,
Who do I need to apologize to?
For more, it was, what did I do last night? Not, did I do that? And on that front, so we talked that, your identity doesn't impact your business really in any way, good, bad, or the otherwise.
Right.
How do you, with your business, like to impact the queer community? Jeez, that's a mouthful.
So I've been fortunate insofar as I've been successful in what I do from a professional standpoint, right? And when I was early on in my practice, I would donate a lot of my time to some of the not-for-profit societies in Kelowna. Yeah. I was on the Okanagan Pride Society for a number of years. I was on the board of Living Positive for a number of years as well. And I found as my practice and my personal life started to get busier, the way that I was able to give back to the community, because of the success that I've been thankful for, financial contributions. So I'm happy to support the food bank, for example, on an annual basis. We like to support where we can with Pride in the summertime. So where I can't be personally involved, I take that step back and if I can be financially involved to help a cause,
totally,
why not?
Yeah. Well, and that's the balance. I think once people get to a certain level of success, it is usually more monetary contribution because time becomes so limited.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I had a great time on the Pride board, but as you well know, when you're working for a volunteer board, you're often putting more time and effort and work into the volunteer side of things as you are to the paid profession. So for me, there had to be that trade-off and that balance.
Yeah. Well, on that, when my last year on the Pride board, Pride Fest, like the monthly end to Pride is like a full-time job.
Oh, there's nothing enjoyable about it.
No.
Not until you sit down at the end and you think about yourself, well, it wasn't that bad.
No.
It's like a hangover. You're like,
exactly.
The hangover wasn't that bad. We'll go out again.
Well, and that's why after that last year, I said to the board, I'm like, I can't do this as a volunteer. And thankfully they were like, hey, here, we had a good year financially, so then they hired me back.
Perfect.
And I still run the festival to say, and that was 6 years ago. Been a while.
Yeah.
So it's that nice mix. I don't have to deal, granted I'm on other boards, but they're on the governance side. So it's very different being on the Pride, the working board, compared to a governance board.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now it's, we get ready for a college board meeting. It's a 300-page packet I got to go through, which I'm sure you're used to with your cases and whatnot.
Yep.
So you know that.
You asked me earlier about my reading list. I'm like, what case law would you like to know about tonight, Dustyn?
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Have you, in your business, experienced any discrimination or bias for being gay?
Thankfully, no.
No.
And I don't know if I have rose-colored glasses or if I'm just the nice, polite Canadian, but I really haven't run into any discrimination either personally or from a professional standpoint. I think the legal community as a whole are fairly liberal-thinking individuals.
Right.
So that bias that you might see in other professional areas or walks of life just really aren't as prevalent as they are within the legal community. And Kelowna especially, so many people that come into this town see it as being this, small-minded conservative enclave of British Columbia. And that just hasn't been my experience living here and growing up here. And in the legal community, it's not at all.
Yeah. When you were saying that, it made me think back to, it was a couple of years ago when Trinity Western was fighting for their, because they had a law school, right? But what was the thing that we had to abide by, like a traditional marriage or basically heterosexuality in a sense, right? I don't remember all the nuances of it.
It had no sexual relations outside of marriage, which was between a man and a woman.
Right.
And again, the Law Society of British Columbia got involved with that. And all of the lawyers, not all of the lawyers, but a good majority of the lawyers in British Columbia voiced up about that because, 20 or 30 years ago, that may have been the acceptable way to think. But nowadays, come on.
Yeah. I mean, you get a few religious groups who are still, like our new mega church that's at the Rotary Center for the Arts.
Are we getting into that?
No, we're just on it. That's my one dig, and then we're moving on. Actually, how has being queer shaped the values that you and your brother have created with the business?
I can't speak for my brother, but I can say, at least for myself, like I had said earlier, everybody has a story and you never know what someone is going through. So I've been so lucky that the people in my life love and accept me for who I am. And when somebody comes across the desk for me to tell me their story and what's going on, I just accept them for who they are and take the story for what it is and work with that. Because I don't know what brought them to that point in their life where they have to come see me. Yeah. And so I've got the benefit of having empathy when it comes to that sort of stuff. Sympathy at times, knowing full well that we are the author of our own demise most days, right? Yeah. So you were the one that made that decision. But really, I think just the empathy part where, because again, it goes to the love and sympathy that was shown when I came out, and it stemmed from that. Right. It's kind of like pass it on, pay it forward.
Love it. Do you have a real memorable success story or achievement in all your years of owning the practice?
A success story or a memorable achievement? Yeah. I think every day that my doors are open and I've paid my staff is a success story and an achievement. As a small business owner, I know that the buck stops with me, and the buck starts with me as well. So I'm just grateful that I've got the support of the community and word of mouth to be able to help supply or to be able to, help put food on the table for 5 other families. And so to me, that's the real success, is being able to keep this thing going, especially through COVID. Yes. I mean, as a trial lawyer, when they shut down the courts for 3 months, it's like, well, what do I do? I don't have any transferable skills. But any real memorable benchmarks, not so much. I can tell you that I am the recipient of some jaw-dropping, amazing stories at times. I bet. And, I can tell you that when I retire, my side gig is I plan on putting a book together of some of the phenomenal, amazing stories that people tell me. Yeah. Because especially as a criminal lawyer, I mean, I am privy to stories that 99% of the population will never, ever hear. I bet. And some of them, like I said, are absolutely just jaw-dropping, you're kidding me type stories. So that's the fun of my job. But any markers or milestones, no. I come in here, I trudge the path of happy destiny, do what I can. Yeah,
it makes me think, like, my dad's retired RCMP and how, he'll tell us stories of cases, but they're always like 5, 6, 7 years in the past because they have to be through the courts and whatnot. So you hear, bits of it. Yeah. But it's always way later.
So, I will change the names. I will change the city that it allegedly happened
the company they worked for, or whoever.
Yeah, exactly.
All of that. Yeah, so it's almost fiction.
Yeah, but it's good storytelling.
Yeah. Do you do any specific kind of marketing or promotion towards the LGBT community?
Honestly, no. I don't. Any marketing promotion that I do is really acquired through word of mouth. Yeah. Right? And I think a lot of small businesses thrive off of word of mouth.
Absolutely.
And I've been lucky enough that, I've got a tight-knit group of friends within our community. And as the years go on, I'm starting to service more and more of the LGBTQ plus community. But no, other than, helping out with fundraising and donations to causes that are near and dear to my heart, that's really the extent of it.
Which is good. I mean, it shows, the reputation that you built with the practice that you don't have to advertise. I remember there was a little bit there where you had Facebook ads because you would pop up every once in a while.
I still have those horrible Facebook ads that pop up every once in a while.
I haven't seen them in a long time. There was a period there for like a month where it was just like, your face was popping up, you and your brother all the time. So maybe I hit it so you didn't waste the ad dollars on me.
Or you're just charging me for the clicks. Yeah. Thanks for that.
I wouldn't. I feel like you've kind of touched on this a bit, but how have you found the queer community in terms of supportive of your business?
we don't really keep track of those metrics. I know that I get a lot of questions when I'm out at parties with, friends that are gay or lesbian.
Free advice.
The free advice, right?
I've never done that at all, Colby. I don't know what you're talking about.
Gay divorce court is not as dramatic and as exciting as I had hoped it would be, but yeah, sorry, what was the question? I went off on gay divorce court.
Just how supportive the queer community is of the business.
And again, my business isn't one that you walk past on a Saturday afternoon and decide to check out.
Yeah. You're in a situation having a shitty day, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I would like to think that there are people out there who will support queer-owned businesses. I do, right? And if that queer-owned business that they want to or need to support is mine, great. Yep. But again, I'm not the first storefront on people's list to stop by and check out, as it would be.
Yeah. I feel like my business self is one of the few that, we really target the queer community. There's not a lot out there outside of, and Friends of Dorothy would probably be the other one, that has a strong focus on the LGBT community in terms of a target demo. But all of us like to know what other businesses are queer because, to your point, you like to try and we like to support each other. Yeah. And sometimes there's not an easy way to know that because unless, they've seen you sponsoring an event or know of you, they might not know that this is a partly queer-owned business.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but thanks to you,
right?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm queer.
Come get me.
And you've talked about Pride a bit, but are there any other LGBT focus initiatives that you've supported in the past or that are kind of near and dear to your heart?
Other than the Living Positive Resource Center, no. It's been primarily those two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because were you around when etc. was all kind of kicked off?
So I was on the board for Okanagan Pride when Wilbur was the president and got etc. kicked off. So, I was somewhat involved in that from a planning and board perspective. Okay. But really, that was the extent of it. Yeah.
I figured there was some overlap in there, but I wasn't sure what that actually looked like.
Yeah.
I find Pride's obviously a big one that I've chatting with people, especially locally. Summer Rainbow Railroad. And then etc. is usually the other one that's kind of high on people. I mean, that's pretty much it. I think you're the first person to mention Living Positive.
I'm the first person that's mentioned Living Positive.
I mean, we're only 8 interviews in, so...
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I suspect if you asked a lot of people in our community what Living Positive was, they would probably raise an eyebrow and say, no, I don't know.
I think today, I feel like it's less known than it used to be.
Right, and I think that's a good thing because it would be... Living Positive's ultimate goal should not exist, right?
True. Yeah.
Their business model is one to work themselves out of business. So if they're becoming less prevalent, they're obviously doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of legacy do you want to leave with your business?
This is where I have to try and keep my ego out of the answer because it's not about me, right?
No, but you still want to have some kind of lasting impact.
Yeah. Ultimately, at the end of the day, people come to me with problems. Right? And it's my job, to the best of my ability, to help those people out with their problems. Yeah. So if the legacy I leave behind is one of people remembering me as the person that was able to help, I've done my job. Right. Because ultimately, that's what I'm here to do, to help. Right. And if I can leave that for hundreds, if not thousands of clients over the years at the time of my retirement, I'll be a happy guy.
Correct. Yeah, that's great. Okay, I'm going to switch over now to the lightning round. So it's this or that. Just pick one or the other.
I'm good at this. Do I win?
Sure. Pat on the back.
Okay, perfect. Recognition. That's all I want.
Exactly. Dinner at a fancy restaurant or home cooked meal?
Ooh, fancy restaurant.
Multiple short vacations or one long vacation in a year?
Multiple short vacations.
I'm the same. Mexico or Hawaii?
Oh, this is where I'm going to do the John Barr explanation.
No, just pick one or the other.
Mexico.
There we go. Spain or Portugal?
Ooh, Spain, because I've been to Portugal. And I only mean that because Portugal was amazing. Yeah. But I'd like to see Spain.
Early riser or like sleep in?
Early riser, Monday to Friday, sleep in Saturday, Sundays.
So, okay. Drive or fly?
Oh, fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. But some people are scared of flying.
Unless I'm going to get gas.
I mean,
I'm flying.
not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
not yet. Debit or credit card for business spending?
Oh, credit card.
Yeah.
Girl, give me the points.
Right, I agree. Bank or credit union?
Oh, credit union.
Okay.
100%.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cat people creep me out.
Don't say they go crazy cat people, right?
Yeah, you never see the crazy dog lady.
No.
It's always the crazy cat lady,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Spotify or Apple Music?
Apple Music.
Popcorn, yay or nay?
Let's go with nay.
Yeah. I find most people like popcorn is just one of those things. It's like you love it or you hate it.
Yeah, I will often pass on it. Trent, my husband, loves popcorn.
Oh,
and
I'm the
like,
same.
Whatever. Give me a chocolate bar.
I'll do both, but fruit on a pizza.
Yes. What do you mean no? You're shaking your head in disgust. Tomatoes
No.
a fruit.
Oh, I think more like pineapple.
Oh, pineapple on a pizza? Yeah. What about peaches on a pizza? With some prosciutto, some nice
Maybe.
parm cheese?
Maybe.
Oh, now we're talking. We're going for dinner after this.
Right. So just like one or two word answers, short answers for these. Favorite type of music?
Really depends on my mood.
Okay.
I am big on old school hip hop right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like Missy Elliott, Dr. Dre, Snoop, all the late 90s, early 2000s stuff. That's my jam as it is right now. Yeah.
I've gone the other way where it's like classical remakes of songs. So like taking any like pop song, but doing it like in a classical version.
Okay.
So there's no actual words to it. It's just music. And I find it really good for working.
Have you heard of Pamplemousse?
No.
So they're a fantastic group out of France
Okay.
that do the same thing. So they take music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s and add a real classical or jazz mix to it. It's a lot of fun.
I love it. I find like for me, it's like I can listen to it and just like really focus in on work because there's no lyrics to really listen to.
Yep.
But you recognize a song, so you can kind of beat along to it, and it's not like new.
Yeah.
Is the way I like it.
I like that.
Favorite time of year?
Oh, summertime.
Yeah.
When it's not smoky.
Yeah.
And you can breathe.
Yeah. So really like June.
Yeah. Well, that's Pride Month.
Exactly. Even better.
There we go.
Favorite place to travel for vacation?
Favorite place?
Yeah.
Well, a sun destination usually.
Yeah. Do you have like a location that's like your go-to? Like if you had a quick, didn't want to have a lot of like thought process put into it. You're just like, I know I can go here and have a great time.
Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a love affair with Southeast Asia though.
Yeah.
And if it was up to me, every vacation I take would be somewhere in Southeast Asia. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been there yet, so it's on the list.
You're going in March, aren't you though?
Well, yeah, I just haven't gone yet.
You're gonna love it.
I'm looking forward to it. Almost 3 weeks.
Perfect. You'll love it.
Yeah, we'll be working a bit while we're there, but that's fine. It's still vacation. It's away from here. I just have a couple last final thoughts to close with. How do you handle work-life balance and self-care as an entrepreneur?
Well, my work-life balance. It's.
You like to be out of here before it's dark, so
I
we've
like
got
to
a
be
few
out of here
minutes.
before it's dark because the place is haunted. It's funny you ask that, and the only reason I laugh because my husband Trent is an RN, and he works shift work.
Right.
And God bless the nurses
Yeah.
because 12, 13-hour shifts, 4 days a week, the shit that they go through, and I would sometimes come home, at 3:30 in the afternoon because my work practice is such that if my day is done, I go home. I don't sit around the office and stew and start worrying about why it's so slow.
Right.
If I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I would go home and Trent would get so concerned with how little I was working because he had just come off a 13-hour shift.
Right.
So my work-life balance is now at 4:30, I'm out. The phone is off. I don't respond to emails.
Yeah.
We take a lot of vacations, shorter vacations throughout the year. And my weekends are my weekends. I try my best not to come into the office to do work. I try not to answer the phone if it's from a client.
Right.
And from the mental health perspective, I'm very active in the AA community. I still go to meetings every week, so I'm able to use that kind of as a venue to decompress, share my thoughts, get my feelings out, recharge for the week, and go forward from there.
Amazing.
It's all about communication.
Right.
Right?
Totally.
You can't keep this shit in you. You have
no.
You have to talk it out. And
you do.
so I'm fortunate that Trent's got a great ear, so I can go home and vent to him, and
Perfect.
10 minutes after that, the weight's off my shoulders, I'm good to go.
It's amazing, like, I've been single most of my life, but just having those people in your life that you can just go and talk to, and I mean, often that's Ella and I. Sometimes it's just over text. You just need to get it out, share it, and we even say sometimes like, I don't need advice, I just need to vent.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, go for it. And we've done it for each other a number of times, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to have that outlet, and again, where there's no judgment or
exactly.
How does that make you feel? Type. I don't need that. I just need to
just get it
yell
out.
And swear.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Any tips or strategies for building resiliency in your business?
Building resiliency in your business. What do you mean? Expand on that.
In terms of, I guess it could be more around like the sustainability side of things and helping grow your business and really building a solid business.
Treat your people well.
Yeah.
Treat everybody well. I treat everybody with the same level of respect that I'd want to be treated. Be honest in everything that you do. And, that's from, in my business, billing appropriately, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but, and tempering people's expectations. Right? Sometimes being honest isn't what people want to hear.
Right.
But sometimes it's what they need to hear.
Totally.
And I think they value that at the end of the day. Yeah. So for me, that's probably the biggest value that I stand on here in my business, is just being honest with absolutely everybody, whether they want it or not.
So it's not like a Suits environment where you're trying to overbill everyone.
Oh man, the amount of stuff those guys get done in an episode. The amount of friends I've had is like, is it really like Suits? Yes, I completed a massive merger and acquisition, did a murder trial, and bought a business all within an 8-hour workday. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite books or podcasts that you're listening to or enjoying?
Favorite books. I don't read because most of my day when I'm not with clients is spent reading. Here it is. So I will typically read trashy, easy to read novels when I'm on vacation.
Perfect.
Right? I can peel through a 300-book novel in a day and a half when I'm on a beach. Podcasts, I don't listen to all that often. You had asked me earlier, and please don't judge. No. But I really enjoy listening to Joe Rogan podcasts, not because I agree with his political or social views. Yeah. I just really like the entertainment factor of the weird people he gets on there. Yeah. Because ever since COVID, I really stopped listening to the news. I've stopped reading the news because I just don't know what or who to believe anymore.
Right.
And so my analytical lawyer mind really enjoys these podcasts because I can pick apart and judge while I'm on a treadmill, and
totally
nobody knows what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's good to listen to, like, even if you might not align with someone views or whatnot 100%, is to hear their side of things.
Right.
Because I think that's how you build a well-formulated opinion.
Yeah, no, 100%. Right. And, I'm reading a book right now called Leaving Palestine. Okay. Because of what's going on in Israel and in Palestine. I, as an individual, don't necessarily know the full history behind it, right? So you see these stories and stuff on the news about these Free Palestine rallies, and if you support one, you're automatically against the other. So, I'm reading up on the history of Israel, how it came about and its history, and I can draw my own conclusions from that rather than listening to somebody tell me how I should be thinking.
My last kind of question that I ask is, what advice would you give other queer individuals who are aspiring to be an entrepreneur?
Do it. Yeah. Believe in yourself. It's life, right? Yeah. And whatever happens, happens. Our fate isn't written in the stars. Right. And if you've got a dream, you've got a passion, get out there and do it. Because the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to fail. Yeah. Right? You're not going to die. You're not going to lose your family. Right? All of these horrible things that we envision and build up in our minds, the what ifs, that fear of the unknown. What if you succeed?
Right. And crazy succeed too.
Yeah. And it goes back to that victim mentality. Turn it on your head. Turn it on its head, man. Take a risk. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Exactly.
Right. And I think if you believe in yourself, you believe in your cause, and it's something you're dedicated and passionate about, who cares if you fail? You did something you were passionate about.
And you're probably going to fail for the first couple times anyway. You do shit anyway.
Oh, God. I look back at some of my early days in practice, and it's just like, what was I thinking or what was I doing? But it's helped create who I am today.
Totally. You have to learn.
Yeah, 100%. You know, you can't be so arrogant to think that you're going to go through life and not fail at something. So why not try?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun trying.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not always fun on the financial side of things, but...
Yeah, but you know what? You'll get past that.
Oh,
life is long.
Yeah, someone will give you debt, probably.
Yeah. We're a small, pretty much full-service law firm with 2 local born and raised Kelownites. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you guys ever grow and add additional lawyers, or is it the plan always to stick to the 2 of you?
You know what? More people equals more drama and more politics and
higher overhead.
And it's nice just being our own bosses.
Yeah.
And only having to answer to the 2 of us, right? We've got a great quality of life. We've got great lifestyles. We're able to vacation and holiday and do everything that we want to do that, you know, if I had more staff, more lawyers, you may not be able to do or afford to do. So no, I don't think we'll grow. We're happy where we are.
That's the most important thing, is be happy.
It works.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I'm not going to try and fix it.
No, well, it's not broken, so why would you?
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks for being on the podcast. Appreciate it.
Thanks for allowing me the privilege to be here.
It was great. And thanks for tuning in to another episode of Queerpreneurs Unleashed. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Dustyn.
Thank you.
That was fun.
It was great.